Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's card is going to be a double card. It's going to be one of my Inspiration in the World series, which are the cards that I make based on things that I see as I'm traveling around, color palettes that trigger ideas and creativity in me, and I see something and I think that would be a great card. So this is another one in that series. Also, this card is showing how to deal with the problem that many crafters have, which is what to do with all these paper scraps that you end up collecting as you become more and more crafty. This card design is beautiful, I believe, and it's also, each card will be unique because you never know when you start how it's going to come out, because you're just putting together the scraps randomly. You can use any scraps that you have as long as you try to make them uniform to the same size. I find that that looks a little bit better. And you can make multiple cards with using the same little set of scraps you have, just put them together in a different way, and I'll show you what I mean as I go. So let me clear this away and I'll show you first how I got the inspiration and then the materials that this card uses. Okay, these are the paper scraps that I have set aside for this card project. I have blues and greens and purples. Let me show you the item that inspired me to make this card design. Forgive me while I'm reaching down to the floor. I have this ginormous accordion file folder. I got this from the Goodwill years ago, and I was looking at it while I was putting together my scrap solution, and I thought, you know, that would make a good card design, and that's a good way to use up the straps because it's just perfect with these strips. So this is the inspiration right here, and I think that you can create this card yourself with your own paper scraps. You can put them together in any color palette that's pleasing, and your outcome will be just as pretty as this. I decided to leave a little bit of white space between the strips, but you could also butt the strips directly up to each other with no space left behind. And please, no comments about my zebra pajamas. I'm making this video early in the morning. You do what you can when you're a crafter. Okay, so the materials that I'm going to be using, I'm using a happy birthday circle, die cut, which I got online. There's no company associated with it. I have Heart to Heart, which is Melissa Designs. It's a stamp set with die. The die cut cuts out these little balloons, but I'm not going to be using the die cut today. I also have the Staying Stuff stamp set by Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous, and I'm going to be using my Misty tool with that. The papers that I'm using today, other than the scraps, is a card base cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a white panel cut 5 by 3 3/4. I have, I'll come back to that in a second, a black square cut 3.5 inches, a square of fun foam, which is adhesive on one side, also 3.5 inches. I have a little bit of wax paper to help me with the die cutting, a black mat for the card base, and it is 5 1/4 by 4. This is a piece of Stick It. Let me get the envelope and show you, which is done by Ken Oliver, and this is adhesive that you can apply to large surfaces of your card, and it will make it sticky. It's also very useful for die cutting. You adhere the Stick It to your cardstock, then you run the whole thing through your die cutter machine, and your cut out die will be sticky on one side. And this saves from having to put adhesive on little intricate areas. So this is a really good product. I find it to be a little bit pricey for how much you get in the pack. I believe this was like 3 or 4 sheets maybe, but there's nothing like it. If you don't have it, you can just get your tape runner and put a lot of tape along the entire surface of this panel, or you could use a glue stick But the problem with the glue stick, unless it's a really high quality one, the paper pieces will over time come loose from the back. So I have done cards with glue stick, but I'm not very satisfied with the outcome, whereas this is very good. Alright, let me set that aside and this aside. The ink I'm going to be using today is Memento Summer Sky and Versafine Onyx Black. I'm going to need my embossing buddy to deal with the extra adhesive, and I also need some rhinestones, and I think that is about it. So let me clear these items away, and then we will get right into creating the card. Alright, the first step is going to be to get the stick-it to be onto the cardstock. If you didn't have this stick-it at this point, you would take whatever adhesive you decided to use, whether it was your tape gun or your glue stick, and cover over the entire surface of the cardstock. But I'm going to use these stick-it. Now this is going to be like watching me do rhinestones, because this has double back paper on it, and it takes me a second to separate the one paper from the product. So I think I might need to get my craft knife to help me with this. Once you get it started, like I have here, then it's pretty simple. Let's see, which is the sticky side? Okay, that's the sticky side. Alrighty. There. So now we just put it in place and just pull back the backing paper. Let me pull it back so I can see this. Okay. There. Now you press the sticky part down on the cardstock. There. That's half the battle. Throw that away. And now I need to get the paper from this side to expose the adhesive. But make sure I don't have any air bubbles in it. I thank you in advance for your patience while I do this part. This will not be as difficult. So you just free up the second paper and pull it back. And this is very sticky. There. I don't think you can see it, but maybe. Yeah, see, it's covered with adhesive. But there's a little part in the center, but that's going to be alright. So at this point, we just take the strips and start the first one at the edge, and the second strip a little bit further away, but also at the edge. Try to keep an even distance of the white space between it, like the brick mortar, and just go straight up. So I will speed this part up because it's pretty self-explanatory watching me do it. Okay, now that everything is in place, I'm going to flip it over and give a really hard press to make sure that everything sticks in the adhesive. This is an important step. I had this little green one on there, but I didn't like how it looked, so I swapped it out. One of the pieces was a little bit wider than all the others, and it gave a little bit of extra area around it, but this is okay because it still fits in with the look that I'm going for. Now we bring in the embossing buddy, and all the places where the white cardstock is showing through, it'll be sticky. So we're going to take this and just deal with all that sticky adhesive. And after I did this the first time, I thought that I could also take and use glitter and drop glitter all across this card. But this card is going to be for my brother-in-law Eric, and I don't think that he would be very happy if I gave him a glittery card with sparkles and sprinkles all over the place. But you know the recipient of the card and whether or not they would like it. I personally think it would look really cute. So I think I'll do this card again, and maybe with some pinks and also put some glitter in for the mortar. These embossing buddies is just talcum powder in a little container. That's all that is. So now it's not sticky. Okay. Get the extra powder off, and as you see, I have enough to do another card. Not so much green, but I can go back to my stash and get some more. So now I just want to cut off all of these extra bits hanging off, and this Tim Holtz paper cutter is really good for this, a guillotine cutter, because it gives really sharp cuts. As you see, very simple. I know I say that a lot. Everything is so simple, it's so simple, but it really is. I hope you think so. Okay, and there we go. Let me clear this stuff away and we move on to the next thing. I want to quickly show you how you can do it with tape. So I'm just going all over the entire surface with tape. Just look and make sure I haven't left any areas. Okay, and you just take the little bits and just put them in place. I also went and got some glitter so I could see how this is going to look. So I'm using a coffee filter to not make too much of a mess, and just sprinkle it directly on. Okay, that's a good start. Because I used the taping solution instead of the stick it for this one, I have a couple of spaces between it where you don't get any glitter because there was no tape there, but I can fix that with a little bit of glue. But I like how this looks. I'll finish this up, and this will be a giveaway item. So after the video, if you want to receive the finished card with the little sparkle on it, leave me a comment down below and I'll send it on its way to you. Okay, here is the one with the glitter on it, so you can compare it. I also have this little Swiffer thing, which is really good for cleaning up glitter. I got this at the dollar store. It has a little handle that goes on it. Always keep one of these handy if you're going to be working with glitter, because that stuff gets everywhere. Okay, I think I've gone through this stack as far as I can take it. I can't get any more. But let me know in the comment section, do you think the glittery one looks better or the non-glittery one? Okay, back to the rest of the card. Now I'm going to do the stamping. I'm bringing in my Misty tool, and I have taken out the rubber pad, which is for the clear stamps, and I'm using just the Misty tool itself. And I'm going to excuse me, line up the stamps where I want them to stamp. So I want, now this will change because I have to put it on an area that is wide enough and long enough to take the stamping. So I'm going to put the Just Celebrate here and the Make-A-Wish there, and we make sure that I have allowed enough room for that. I have. Let's transfer it to the door. Whoops, everything is moving. Now take my Versafine. I think that's good. Don't want this to move. Now just transfer that to this panel. Good. Clean this off. Okay, I'm done with that. Now I need to do my die cutting. So I have my fun foam and my square, and you just attach it to it. Pull the adhesive back mostly. It's easier to handle if you don't pull the paper all the way off. And just stick it on there and then finish pulling the paper. Now this I'm going to run through my die cut machine, and the sandwich that I'm going to use is this wax paper goes on the cardstock between the die cut and the cardstock, and this will help release it from the machine once you come through. Because it has all these little intricate places, it would be difficult to get it out, and this wax paper makes it a little bit easier. So let me go run this through my die cut machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, and this is the outcome, and it just pops right out. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. And the die cut will come out with a lot less trouble than if you had not used the wax paper. There we go. Now I just need my pokey tool to get the little bits out of the centers of the letters. There are some crafters that suggest that you do not do the wax paper trick. Some crafters suggest that you use dryer sheets in place of the wax paper. Your results may vary. I have had dies that I didn't need to use either, and it pops out just fine. And then some dies that I've had to really struggle to get them out of the the die cut. So you will know which one you'll need to do. So this is just a trick that may or may not help you. There we go, all out and ready to go. The rest of the card is just simple assembly and minor stamping. So I'm just going to go through, let the music play, and you can watch the card as it is assembled. Alright, that's the finished card. I hope you like it. I hope this gives you some ideas of how you can use your own paper scraps in your card design. This went together really quickly, and in fact I have 3 cards, and I'll show the 3rd card in the end part. I cut off a little bit too much on this side for the panel, so the black is a little bit wider than I like, but it still looks alright. It looks like it's intentional, and no one will know that it was an accident unless, of course, they watched my video. Thanks for watching the channel. I appreciate all the positive feedback that I'm getting. I want to take this moment to thank my brother David for the music that he's providing, and to thank my friends and family for all the support they give me as I venture out in this card making channel. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Take care and have a great day.